Trader, back at you again. Here we go with another video. I believe we are on video number 9. Last video we talked about support and resistance, and we did it at the basic, just flat support and resistance areas. Today we're going to go into a little bit more of support and resistance. Like I said before, 60 to 80% of my trades I think are probably based on support and resistance, not just solely candles. My favorite trades are when I have support, resistance with a reversal candle or reversal set of candles in a formation. I love that stuff. Those are my favorite ways to trade. The odds are much better on your side when you have a combination of things other than trading just a candle or just a candle or just a couple of candles. To have a resistance or support area helps you out a lot. So last week we talked about, and you can see one right here. Here we are on Dish Network, okay? Last week we talked about just flat levels of support and resistance. Here, we'll pop one up right here. Here's a little 2-candle resistance. Boom, at 360. Here's support. Look at this. Boom, it came up. It offered a little bit of resistance, not much, blew through, but then it turned into support and it bounced off, caused this rally up here. Alright, so just to refresh your memory, support and resistance are areas where buying and selling takes place. Okay, so we're going to delete this. So now we're going to look at the angled support and resistance, or what we would call trend lines. Trend lines require at least 2 touches, 3 to be strong. Okay, so 2 touches, 3 to be strong. Trends can be up, trends can be down, trends can be sideways. Alright, those are your 3 basic trends: up, down, and sideways. There's a lot of talk about when and where to put trend lines, and that subject is open for debate. I'm going to show you how I do it. You can do it that way if you want. You can do it your own way. Look at charts. Each chart's different. Each trend is different. So let's go ahead and just get started. We got Dish Network here. Like I said, DISH is the ticker symbol. I picked this because this is a trade I've been looking at today on the blog. So I said, hey, why not use Dish? Everybody knows Dish Network. So trends. Okay, trends occur in up and down moves. This is real easy to see a trend right here. Okay, so you have a small downtrend, then you have a big long uptrend. Okay, one thing you notice about trends, they never go straight up. There's always dips. There's always dips. There's always dips. Okay, so if I wanted to draw a trend line on this, where should I start? Well, there's a whole bunch of trends within this trend. Okay, this is a support area. So most people will probably start somewhere like right in here. Right in this area here. And then you draw up and you got your line, and this looks like a logical area to me. So logically I say, okay, this looks like really the start of my up move, my first sell down. Then we started moving up. Here's our first retest. So this whole area is our first retest of this. So here's our one area, which actually technically you could make a mini trend line off these candles here, but here's our start area, here's our retest. Now we know we have a true trend line. And remember what I just said about candles on formations and for confirmations of such. So let's look at this a little bit closer. Look at this. Bullish engulfing candle in context off of this trend line. That's usually a good buy signal. And it would have worked. It would have worked for a day. Then you got a dark cloud cover coming back down. Another bullish engulfing, play it to the upside, boom. And you're off to the races, okay? Until you run into your bearish engulfing up here. Okay, so now within this trend, you can see other trends. Trends can be in any length, any chart. We're using a daily chart here, but you can do any length, 1 minute up to monthly charts if you want. You can do trends on monthlies. In fact, we'll probably look at that maybe if we get time. But let's go ahead and draw another trend here. Now this trend I drew on the top of the candle bodies. I ignored this wick. Why did you ignore this wick? Well, I draw trend lines where they make sense. Sometimes I use the wicks if they seem to be a prominent part of the trend. Sometimes I don't. In this situation, the wicks do not seem to be a prominent part of the trend. Okay, so I ignored them. I do that a lot. I'll ignore them. People say, well, that's not a true trend line. Hey, that's what I do. That's the way I trade. That's the way I play them. That's what I look at. It gives you a little bit more leeway, and some stocks are different than others. So some stocks it works on, some stocks it doesn't. So downtrends are down trends you draw on the top of your darker candles. Up trends you draw on the bottom of the candles because you're looking for break or support. You're looking for break or support. So this downtrend was broke right here. You can see it closed right on it. Boom. Then we gapped up and broke through it. Okay. So this trend line was now invalid on this date right here. And we're back to our uptrend. Okay. This one broke out. Here you can see you can draw trend lines all over. You could draw another one right here. You can draw them all over in here. All right, and this one I would do on the wicks. Why? Because there's a lot of wicks there, and the wicks seem to be important to this down move. All right, here it was broke right here, and say, okay, now we're done. Trend moves can be moved. Downtrends can be broke by going sideways. It can be broke by an up move, and the same with uptrends. Okay, so let's keep on looking here. Now, trends are areas where buying and selling takes place. That's all it is. Just like support and resistance areas, it's where buying and selling takes place. Okay, so that's all it is. So people are going to buy when it gets into this area here. All right, and people are going to sell when it gets up in this area here. It is what we call a trend. It is a support and resistance line. All right, so here's a break of our trend right here. The third touch of this trend line, the long-term trend, should be strong. Here's our break of it. Okay, so I would have expected it to hold here. You see this white candle right here, probably be going long off of that. And boom, I'd have been disappointed. We have a bearish engulfing. We break down. But what happens? We rally right back to it. Now this trend line just becomes a sloppy trend line, which means it's not near as tight as it was back here. Okay? So it is a sloppy trend line. So we could draw another trend here, starting down here. I like to draw my uptrends off white candles and my downtrends off dark candles. Okay? That's just the way I was taught, and it seems to work the best. So it confirms your first up move. That's what I do. So there you go. So there's our new trend underneath. Boom. Touched once here. Got close. These are close enough to be called a touch. Touched again. Kept on going. Okay, now we broke this trend line. Our top one's been broke a whole bunch, so we've got a new trend line here. You can see this one's not offering any support at all. Then all of a sudden it offers a little bit in the channel. Here's where a break of our trend line right there. Okay, so right here we had a pretty good break of the trend line. And often when you have a break of a trend line like this, or a support line, you can call this a support line, but it's a trend line, you'll have a retest of that line before you get a true break. So this is your retest. You'll hear me talk about it. Come on up, boom, it's retesting. It even retests this one, and then kept going up before eventually turning down. Retested it several times here, okay? So here's our trend. Within this, you can see a whole bunch of small trends, and if you want to get cute and you want to try to trade short-term trades, you know, you could have traded this trend line down here. Here's a nice big steep uptrend line. Another thing about these, the steeper they are, the harder and faster they break generally. The flatter they are, the longer they last. So now we broke through our trend lines here. So now we've got a new downtrend. Now this one's not near as nice as the other ones. All right, and I'd probably start in this area here and hit this one here. So candle tops. Not very good. I don't like it. Doesn't look good. So I'm going to draw a different trend line. So I'd say down in here. All right. None of this would be really playable to me. It's not a clean trend line. You can see you're only getting 2 touches, not very strong. Only 2 touches here, not very strong. So I'd probably ignore that and look for support and resistance if I wanted to trade that. Let's zoom out a little bit more. Make it a little bit better here. Okay, so let's look for. Now you can see a whole bunch of trend lines here. You can see a down one. You can see an up one. Right here, you can see down and up, but nothing really standing out. So our right now our trend is sideways. Okay, remember I said sideways could be a trend, and that's just drawing support and resistance. Now bang, here we go, back into a nice new trend line, breaking out from the bottom here. Put up here. Here's a white candle here. Then I can zoom in and look at this. Move it a little bit, adjust it, get it just right. If I want to start my move up in there, somewhere in here. So this would be my trend. Okay, I'd be like, okay, it started here. We tested here. Boom, tested here. This is a good trend. 3 touches. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and look at this, a 4th test. This is a nice trend. So I'd be playing to the upside on this trend until it is broken. You can see it lasts a long time. It never even got retested. Again, we could do the same thing we did before. We could add another trend up here because we have a trend, uptrend within a trend. All right, and it just keeps on going and going. And here's our break, and then we're going to start our downtrend. So that's it. That's part 2 of our support and resistance levels, which are trend lines. That's all they are. Support and resistance levels at angles. Kind of ran out of time on you there. Sorry about that. But I think you get the idea. And if you take a chart way out like this is a 20-year, and just flatten it, you can see them even better. Right here, all over the place. Okay, and this stock's had a lot of uptrends. They can go from tops, bottoms, and stuff like that. So I'll do some more on this. Ran out of time today. Here's a nice downtrend with the break here. We'll do some more on trend lines. I love trend lines. I love support and resistance. But for now, this will be the AK Option Trader signing up.